Well, thank you for staying with us here on the AM Show. The AM Show is sponsored by Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. Now, we take a look at that sector. Expected to rake in $8.3 billion per year by 2027, and a destination for an estimated 4.3 million people from around the world. We're taking Ghana's tourism industry and how Ghana is harnessing this potential for our benefits. It's a big tourism conversation right here in the studio. And Professor Kokode-Nwamase, CEO, Ghana Tourism Development Company, joins us here in the studio. I cannot wait to dig deep. I'm one of the confused persons who is not really getting clarity over the overlapping mandates of your side and then the authority as well. I'm sure that by the time we're done with this conversation, you'll bring some clarity to it. So, Kojo, we can go on.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so let's start from, how different this tourism development company is from the authority.
Excellent. But yeah, I can't talk about it without referring to Takra days. I know from way back, yes, Takra Day.
Well, sure.
Obviously, we're just talking about
New Takra Day and the Monkey Hill Nazi.
Yeah. So we'll try and see whether we can throw some spotlights. It's very important to me.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, yes. So MFA, the Ghana Tourism Authority and Ghana Tourism Development Company, there's no overlap actually. I think that the mandates are clear.
Okay.
And let me say that Ghana Tourism Authority gave birth to Ghana Tourism Development Company.
Okay.
Yeah, in 1972.
Okay.
Now, the authority is responsible for regulations, responsible for promoting tourism in Ghana. What that means is that the authority actually represents the entirety of the Ghana tourism at world stage. So when there's a world travel market, for example, authority will go and signpost or set up, Ghana's desk and show people what is in Ghana. What the authority cannot do is to say that, I want to come to Ghana as a tourist. Then the authority would then, curate a product and say, we are charging X amount of money to come to Ghana.
Okay.
The authority cannot do that bit. That bit is my mandate.
Okay.
For government. So I am responsible for commercializing tourism, for government, i.e. going to the market, selling tourism products and services and taking the money to government. But the authority supervises all of us, including the private sector,
okay.
all our, activities. They have to make sure that we are complying on the regulatory frameworks. So the compliance issues, quality issues, the authority is responsible for that. And then they will represent the country abroad in terms of telling the whole world what we have in Ghana. But then they cannot commercialize because obviously they are set up as an act. They get their sources of funding from the tourism levy, obviously government and assistance, etc. But I have to go to the market and compete.
So you are more like a tour company,
absolutely.
But for government.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So in 1972, it used to be part of the authority, then at the time called the board. But then they hive it off because you cannot be the referee and the player at the same time. So the government then hived that commercialization part off to set up a GTDC. And our mandate is about mobilizing resources for investment. So international, locally, and then, of course, ensuring the development of the tourism. Again, the activities that we do, as well as other private sector, sectors, players do, all contribute to promoting tourism, in the country. But, of course, the activities that we perform, the mandates are quite different. So I have to ensure that, I get in investors, and we say that we're supposed to have a minority equity share on behalf of government. So if MFA decides to build a hotel in Ghana and then they seek our assistance and we help, we take a little bit and say, okay, 20% share for government, for the assistance that we're providing you, etc. So we take a minority share.
So far, what's some of the infrastructure in the tourism industry that you say you have some shares in there on behalf of government? Okay,
so we have what we call Asemanso, what we call the slave bath.
Oh, okay.
So
the one in Asemanso.
Exactly. So we we with the traditional council, Apemenim, the traditional council, manage that particular site. So we represent government in that particular. So it's under my jurisdiction. So we have to help, sort of manage the place. If there are any issues, we have to make sure that we seek investment into the place. And also curate events that would attract people there. We also have the big tree, on our big tree. We also manage that with Forestry Commission, the Traditional Council, and then, of course, the District Assembly. Now, we have to expand, the areas that we have that kind of a mandate to manage. But we are also going digital, and that's why we're doing this big conversation. We think that the country should have systems that can actually ensure sustainability of our tourism. And so we are putting up what we call Ghana Tourism Investment Platform. GTIP is a web-based platform, and the website is called investintourism.org. We will transition to investintourism.gov.gh, as NITA is helping us to do. Now, the idea is we need to identify most of the investable tourism areas that are viable. So the platform is what we have on the screens now. Yeah, so this is two platforms. This is Ghana Tourism Marketplace. This is investable. Okay, exactly. Investintourism.org. So that's the platform that's going to list all the potential tourism places that we have to invest in. Okay. We think, in our estimation, it's going to be the biggest investable tourism platform in Africa. Okay. All the 261 districts, we're going to list them. The investment tourism investable areas of the 16 regions. So we have already started profiling some of them. Now, if you go into investment, the section that says investment, you would realize that we have already profiled some projects there, including Konkon Wonderland, and then, of course, Center of the World Golf Course, which is in Tema. Okay. All right. So we've profiled them. Now, we show the investors the updates on infrastructure. So, for example, road. If you look at the trunk road from Accra to, let's say, Tema, we'll give you the number of the kilometers, the distances that are tarred, all right? And then, of course, the town roads leading to the tourism site, again, the distances that are tarred or untarred, and then the access road, all right? We give you updates on water, whether water is available and alternative sources of water. We'll give you updates on electricity, power. We'll give you updates on internet. We'll give you all these updates. So if you're an investor, you have a one-stop shop to know areas that you can invest in, what is available, what is not available, and how you should prepare, towards that. Again, we tell you what the area can be used for, all right? And then we'll tell you how you can make your money. Okay. All right. So you can make your money through this. So we suggest to you. Okay. All right. But then also we present to you the various agencies responsible for you to deal with. For example, your registration. Ghana Tourism Authority has to certify. They have to give you permits. They have to give you. We have all that there. You have to go to Register of Companies to do ABCDE. You have to go to Ghana Investment Promotion Council. Maybe if you're looking for some benefits or some kind of incentives, you have to go to GRA. We have all those information on that platform. So before you actually step into Ghana, let's say you're coming from the US, you already know the documentation you need to have, the processes that you need to go through, and you are clear about where you want to invest, the district you want to invest, the region you want to invest. Before you come to us, I mean, you've already started,
But does this suggest that those who seem to be interested are not in this country locally? They're outside?
No, both. Locally. In fact, one of the target groups that I want to, visit is the Kobu businessmen. Okay. I want to visit them, but I want to go there prepared with my platform, so that when I'm telling them the opportunities that they can invest in, they can see. Okay. They would be able to. For me, it's not about talking. It's about showing evidences, because the days of talking is over. We have to have a sustainable systems, and that's why we're developing.
In putting this together, the Ghana Tourism Investments Platform, in putting it together, did you come by some structural challenges, genuine challenges?
I mean, the challenge has always been money. To be very honest, the place has no budget.
Your company?
Yeah, there has no budget. We have to look for money to get things done. But we need to move.
It's a company, though. Did you anticipate that?
Well, of course, as a business student, I'm from the business school, so you know that systems are supposed to be supported with budget, and of course, being a company, you've got to go out there and look for money.
So what's on the screen now is the Tourism Investment Hub?
Tourism Investment Hub, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go into it, there are sections of it, partners. So you can see the categories of the areas: heritage, culture, ecotourism, agro-tourism, hospitality, infrastructure. So whichever one that you are looking for, you can click. Now, there's a reporting at the back end that my minister can generate a report and say, okay, we know that we have about 500 kilometers of tourism routes that are either tarred or untarred. We have a certain areas that we don't have water, potable water, but we have alternative water sources. So it has a whole reporting at the back end that can help us make decisions in terms of how much we need to invest in a particular tourism area. And it covers the entire country. By the time we're done, we'll be having one of the biggest investable tourism platforms in Africa.
We know that one of the biggest challenges to tourism development in this country, you mentioned earlier, is bad roads. There are places that have beautiful tourism, tourist sites, but the roads leading to them are terrible. So in inviting investors to bring in money, what is government or what are you going to do to make sure that I, as the investor, will feel that, okay, if I put money here, because the road is good, I can rake back my money?
Obviously, tourism is a bundled product. It is not a one unitary product. So it bothers on so many structures. For example, as you mentioned road, you would also mention water. Obviously internet, obviously electricity. So tourism's ecosystem is bigger, all right? So I know for a fact that my minister had been in contact with all these sector ministers, looking at how we can actually upgrade on these infrastructure types. All right. I mean, especially roads. I know for a fact that my minister had been very much in touch with the road minister to look at how do we invest in the tourism roads. Just as we have cocoa roads, we have tourism roads, right? And as you pointed out, if the road networks to the tourism sites aren't good, of course, people would find it difficult visiting that. So it's very, very important that we look at the connecting point and make sure that we develop not only roads, but water, all right, internet. Because these days, what's the first thing that a tourist does? I mean, immediately you get to a site, you take a selfie. Right? You put it on Twitter, you put it on Facebook. Very, very important. It's not trivial because you have to announce that you have reached the place peacefully, successfully, especially when they are coming to Africa. There's so many anxieties, all right? And so to make sure that people feel comfortable, all these infrastructure types have to be available. So we have to be in contact with almost all the sectors that bother on tourism in order that we can improve. And I know that my minister is actually doing that.
So there's a plan
to
attend to that.
Absolutely. And that's why one of the plans is this. Because you see, if we don't have a holistic view of how many kilometer roads or what's the distance of kilometer roads that are leading to tourism sites that are untarred, we can't make a decision. So when we build this system, we have a database, we have data that we can actually lead us to decisions to make this happen. Because if you want to commit a budget, you should know what's the size of the issue that you're talking about. So if you know that you have about 5,000 kilometer roads that are untarred leading to tourism space, you can then commit budgets to that. But not only that, in terms of the Ghana Tourism Investment Platform, we also have Ghana Tourism Marketplace.
Okay.
We're saying that we need to have a sustainable drive towards domestic tourism as well as international arrivals. So we have developed this platform where we're going to onboard all the vendors onto it. Again, it will be one of the biggest. You know, so if you want to book your hotel, you can book it on there. If you want to book a car rental, you want to rent a car, you can do it there. A tour guide, you can have it there. All these vendors are going to be verified, all right, so that people have trust, confidence in it. You can make payment to your favorite, National Theatre, play. You can buy the ticket there and then pay there. The money goes straight to the vendor. You get your receipt, your ticket, and then you go to National Theatre. Because we need to promote these things, and people have to have a very convenient one-stop shop to make these things happen. I remember my very good friend, senior professor, Akosia Adumako, in December. He said he was a colleague, a friend of hers visited from the US, and they wanted to go to National Theatre to see a play. They couldn't find, any. They were looking for online and they couldn't find anything.
Information is not available.
Exactly. And I told Prof that I will solve it. And I'm happy to go back to her and say, Prof, I've solved it. So if you look at the screen...
And that's the marketplace.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you look at the screen, and I can tell you, none of the even big players in African tourism have this. If you look at the screen, on your right, far right, are the events that are happening in the country. So you can click on it, and then you can see Ghana, you see theatre there. So if you go to theatre, and they will be they will be shown at the right-hand side what is happening in the country. So when you click on it, it would open up, and then you can buy the ticket, all right? Yeah, you can book events. You can actually go to the National Theatre. You can pay your museum tickets. We're going to, obviously we are one of the agencies with museums, all right? So we're going to put all the museums, discuss with Blankson to see how best we can actually push all the museums, including the castles. So before you go there, you're buying your ticket there. And we're making sure that all these things, are done on one platform. Eventually, we don't have to wait till end of year to know how much receipts that have come into tourism. My minister can sit in her office and know that we have, by the mid of the year, we have X amount of money as tourism receipts. We don't have to wait because the system aggregates everything.
I was asking you about the roads because, and you mentioned castles and museums, and that brought me to a community called Butre.
Yeah.
You remember the story about Butre? It's a historic place.
Fascinating.
But the road leading to Butre is so terrible. There's a small hill there, just before you get into the community, that is bad in time it rains.
Yeah.
So for such a community that can drive a lot of tourists because of the history, the road isn't good.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a strategy, even in the meantime, before the ministry comes on board, to get some sort of intervention for such a road to some strategic places like Butre that its story can drive a lot of tourists there?
I suppose, the conversation has been, and don't forget, the president has talked about Black Star Experience, has talked about, the idea that everywhere in the country must feel the same, must have the same quality. The president has talked about 24-hour, 365 days. When you come to the country, you have to have the same feeling as you would in December. So the approach is that we have to go out there and look for investment for all these things. Because the reality is that government budget is limited. Take it or leave it. So it is my responsibility to make sure that I can go out there and tell people about Butre. I cannot go there and say it with my mouth. And that's why the platform is there. I can actually, profile Butre, put the videos there, put it on the system, show photos, show how people can make their money back when they invest. And then I can have the confidence to talk about them at international investment platforms. And so I had said that I am not going to any platform to just speak with my mouth. I have to go there with evidence. And by God's grace, we've started to doing that. And definitely, Butre, like any other place, will be covered. And then hopefully we can actually bring in the necessary investment.
On the marketplace, how do you make the money? From the vendors or from the consumer?
Currently, we're discussing the pricing. How we generate money. Of course, one of the models, as a business student, your revenue model. All right, so one of the revenue model is a surcharge. So 1 cedi. If you buy your tickets there and then we surcharge you 1 cedi, I don't think it's bad. Because we're giving you the convenience to do that. So you can buy your Kwame Nkrumah Memorial, tickets there from the marketplace before you go there. And we've had, myself and colleagues have had a lot of talks, we're looking forward to making sure that we can make this attractive. Don't forget, this is only the infrastructure. It's a 3-stage approach. We call it infrastructure, strategy, and a backbone. I'll not tell you the rest of it. I'll hold you in suspense. But now is the infrastructure. So the infrastructure is done. We're meeting all the stakeholders. We're discussing it, letting them to tell us what else do they think we should take out, we should add on, etc. Then we'll finalize the infrastructure. Once the infrastructure is done, the strategy kicks in. And I'm telling you, you'll be blown by the strategy. I keep telling people that you have over 200 plus media houses, all right, all talking about what is happening in the country. And they have to be factual. Obviously, there are disturbances in the country. There are corruption issues you have to report, etc. And all of you have online presence. So what does that mean? Both bad news and good news are going online through the media. So how do we respond as tourism? We have to let our responsibility is making sure that the country looks good. Your responsibility is making sure that you put the country as factual as possible to the people. So there's a competing issues here. So I don't have to let you trump me with your factual. All right. So my responsibility is to drive the tourism industry onto the internet. So if MFR has a TikTok account and he's showing all these beautiful things, I've been to Butre and this is nice and come to Ghana, it's restricted on TikTok. How do I push you onto the search engine? Okay. So that your beautiful video counters Kojo's corruption issue. You get my point? That's what I call the strategy. So going forward, if you type in tourism, Ghana has to be first. And it has to be a good story, not corruption story.
I see that moving forward, you're having the big tourism conversation, September 3.
Yes.
But before that, we won't get to know what you're doing. Now, you've said all the nice things now, but what kind of Ghana Tourism Development Company did you inherit for you to want to take it on such a speed level?
I won't mince words. Terrible. Terrible. I mean, for 3 months, we were struggling to even pay salaries. You know, it was absolutely atrocious. But we will turn it around. The president said we are resetting the country. We are resetting Ghana Tourism Development Company. And we have already done that. The staff morale is very high. From the driver to everybody else know that we are really transitioning. And I can promise you, we'll actually reset for the president to be happy. My minister to be the best minister in this administration. We're doing it.
Let's talk about the big tourism conversation. It's happening on September 3, 10 a.m.
Accra City Hotel.
Accra City Hotel.
They were generous enough to give us sponsorship. Because they know we don't have money.
So free.
Absolutely. In fact, people are willing to help us, you know, to succeed. I've had a conversation. Yesterday, I had a conversation with one of the biggest advertising agencies in the country. They're going to come on board, you know, the marketplace. I've had one of the major banks want to come on board on the marketplace. Everybody is willing to help us, and we will succeed.
You're talking about these two nice initiatives that you're introducing, stakeholder conversation for them to...
Because the stakeholders should be able to tell us what they want to see on the marketplace, what they want us to take out. It's a shared system. I call it a shared ownership platform. So when, for example, Gatoff or Tuga or car rental company, when they participate in it and we raise the money, we share with them so that they can also use it to manage their associations. That's how I see it, you know. So it's going to be a shared platform where everybody wins, not only GTDC taking...
So this big conversation is focusing on...
So the big conversation is saying that the stakeholders should come, we'll present to them the infrastructure, we'll show them the various modules of the platform, and they will give us feedback as in, oh, change this, put this section, etc. And then we'll go back and finalize it and launch it. Now, one of the interesting things is that the competition now is going to be region-based. So very soon you see hotels in Koforidua having given us 70% discount on all accommodation. And then Sekenita Krade has to respond. You know, we call it TIV, Tourism Incentive Vouchers.
Okay.
Yeah. You know Porials on Instagram where people, you know, the young people.
Porials?
Yes. We're bringing Porials into the tourism scene.
Okay.
So you will see Black Friday, hooray, tourism bonanza. You know, go to Senchi, all hotels reduced by so percentage.
Do you envisage this just being a rebranding, or you envisage it becoming big policies?
It is a complete turnaround of the tourism sector.
Who are the stakeholders coming on?
Ghana Hotels Association.
Okay.
Absolutely committed to us. TUGA, Ghana Tourism Operators Union.
Okay.
We have GATOF, Ghana Tourism Federation. And we have so many other players, car rentals, traditional caterers, the Chefs Association. I mean, call them. All of them are coming to, because everybody recognizes that we need to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Everybody recognizes that we need innovation in the system. We need to let our tourism excite. When I see South African tourism adverts, at the airport area, I bleed. I said, no, I have to take the competition to South Africa. I have to match them boots for boots. So my target is making sure that Ghana tourism will be the #1. And when you type tourism anywhere, Europe, America, etc., Ghana has to show up.
Stay with me. We'll wrap this conversation, but I'll take you to the Ashanti region. Now, traders at the Swami Post Office Market in the Ashanti region are counting their losses after a late-night fire destroyed over 100 shops. The inferno reportedly started in the wee hours of Tuesday morning and tore through the market, raising properties and various items sold at the market, which could run into millions of cedis. Now, my colleague Nanaya Ojima is on standby to bring us update. Nanaya, what's the situation like over there?
As you can see, we are still within the Swami Post Office Market, and this shop that you have in your shop now stocks vehicle engines and other parts. And these vehicle engines and other parts are completely destroyed by the fire. As you can see, they are trying to bring out the few they can salvage. Now, the information that I have from some of the owners is that these engines are completely destroyed now. All they will have to use is, or it's used now, is for them to use them to remake other things. They will have to melt down the metals and, if possible, use them for other things within the Swami Enclave, Magazine Enclave. So these are men trying to bring out the engines that have been completely destroyed by the fire. I have with me the owner of the shop here who looks on, supervising what these men are doing now. Ofa, Kafra, ya konso. Na, then I'll say this incident.
Me na move now on frame me catch me. I ram 10:30 evening time. And on frame me catch me. Timti en man na. Tim rush ba be so na dey say me yan hwenye. Echi ansa na mo de mo free service be na say bibia aye na say bibia ahye. And say me be na bibia ahye wi ti yan hwenye. Ene me ko fa be last week kwa ento makokora and ni na go no. Scale could you buy it? 1.5 years ago. Scaling na Yantoma Kokura and Inashi. See, you know, the Abba, say, Abba Quemwa. And Yamakwa, Jumana, you see, Yamwa. Ghana Sembasia, and one of Hanaco, Rubo, Kawasamasa, Hanabo. To the one raja, Scannerson, why somewhere, and that cried, you be crowd bedding. Go see, I'm no more, you know, what they're heading. The same day, where you say that I share you, the Australian, if you just say, you to tune to condemn. This is to condemn. I say, Inji, Ijaka, I say, a Nanan, a woman Nanan. Cash out in Ijaka, intimate NBM. What I say, alternate Tabiba will be assessed, and this is to now turn condemn. You might be there.
All that he is saying is that whatever you see them bringing out here, it's of no use. Now they'll have to sell it out for other people who will not buy it as much as they expect to get from their goods. They'll have to use it as condemned. If there are some parts they can take it out, these people will take them out and the others will be let go. So this is one of the affected shops within the enclave. He says he spent over 150,000 cedis importing all these engines. You see them bent. There's another shop which also stocks engines. and the shop is also completely destroyed by the fire. As you can see, this place is very close to the Swami Magazine enclave, and the issue is that a lot of the people with shops at the Magazine enclave have warehouses here where they stock their things. So if you come to the shop and they are unable to get you the exact good that you need, they come in here and try to get it for you. So these are warehouses lined up on this line, and they all stock engines and other vehicle parts. Let me try to speak to this man. He's one of the people who have their wares destroyed. Let's try get a few words from him. Ofa, let's say Arahosem Panes. Not in the same.
Enrame fear anajo. 12 o'clock. And I'm in your course. After that course, not started about any part about community and son. So, baby, I'm in my good no ash. Tijuana, in fact, me am shaming. And I'm if you chronom to the bed 10 minutes, Nama drew her. To me, drew her and Pame by me, say, Jadda Hanuma to say, fire service for nobody can Abahanum, try, say, or Medumjana. And 10 years I become home. And I really dear, 12 o'clock now up to 7 o'clock, say, dear, the Norman I say, the Bedumjana, so you go on so I had them, a Janet Miaba from Kamakaka.
Now, assessment and never know one between for Bibiako.
Stores in the media. And Nema were handing in no Nema say no semi estimated is around $200,000. Aye, because in Jawahano, they have full crowd 25,000 cities, 25,000 Ghana cities. They have full crowd. It is our sense so no Ebru 50. Ebru 50. And I didn't say just can't say they are say Jadi and side there. They just can't be on my between for you. And I say be also the condemn.
So he says he has two shops here. They are close to each other, and both shops are completely destroyed. These are warehouses, and he stocks engines. He says at least he has lost about $200,000 to this fire. As you can see, the other people who are also salvaging a few of their wares, they also sell vehicle parts. Mami, when are you doing?
Rings.
Rings.
Rings. I spare parts. Rings. Can't want to see one name na. And name your store ni na shi. Yes. We say absorb ni na say. We ain't mean to.
This is a Camry shock absorber. That's a Toyota Camry shock absorber, and it's completely destroyed. They have rings and other engine parts which are all completely destroyed. As you can see, they are trying to bring out a few that they will be able to salvage. Now, this market, as I said earlier, has a lot of goods put out for sale. It's not a commodity market. So they sell different commodities in here. So out here on this line are engine parts. We are trying to get access to the market itself. As you can see, the fire is not completely doused now. According to the fire service, they are still on the ground trying to completely do away with the fire. They came here somewhere around midnight, and they've been fighting the fire since. Since there are some goods or some things which are highly flammable, it's been difficult for them to fight this fire. According to the fire service, as they were fighting the fire, there were explosions of gas in there, and when we came here, we've seen some gas cylinders and others all within the market. Inside the market is where foodstuffs are being sold. These shops that stock foodstuffs are completely destroyed. Now the NADMO and the police service and also the fire service are all on the ground trying to ensure that they protect the goods that have been left and also the lives of the people in here. As you can see, this is one of the shop owners trying to salvage a few of the things that he's able to get from his shop. So this is inside the market. This is where over 120 stores and shops have been destroyed completely by the fire. As you can see, smoke continues to emanate from some of these shops. The fire service are still around trying to completely douse the flame. They tell me that they found it very difficult getting access to this place. Why? Because there's no entry, there's no access road. So they had to join their hose and extend to where the fire was before they were able to douse the flame. As you can see, or I can see one of the NADMO officers trying to prevent people from getting access. These are people who have their wares destroyed by the fire. They are all trying to come in, see the extent of damage, and if possible, try to salvage some of the things they have in here. But due to safety concerns, the NADMO and the fire service and other agencies are trying to prevent them from getting access to this area. So this is the extent of damage that have been done to the market, the Swami Post Office market here within the Swami municipality.
Thank you for bringing us updates from the Ashanti region. Quite a sad one. It's not a good one for the Ashanti region this year in terms of fire outbreak. I'm not sure, or I don't recall you telling us what the fire service said is the initial cause of fire. But when you lay your hands on that, you can share with us. So on your screen now is the remains of what's happened in the Swami magazine enclave in the market, where you know that it's quite popular for spare parts, and shop owners telling how much they've lost so far. Now, back here in the studio, we still have Professor Kokode-Nwamase telling us about that big conversation and his plans for the Ghana Tourism Development Company. You're telling us the people that are coming in, what to expect. And you say this plan of yours would generate about nearly how much a year?
Well, if we go by the numbers that we put out in the tourism report, remember we brought about 1.2 million people, about almost 1.3 million people into the country. Now, if all of them are going through the marketplace and we are surcharging $1, that can tell you how much we're earning.
Okay.
But of course, we shouldn't be too ambitious. So if you look at it, 25% of those numbers come. So we've done the numbers and we're quite sure of what we're getting. And that's why it's attracted partners. People are excited about that. So yes, we know that we can turn around UTDC with this kind of, But what excites me is the places that I've been going. And I was telling you, I've been to Galosota, Professor Wosonu, amazing man. Look, if all of us had passion for our hometowns like Professor Wosonu, we would have turned Ghana around. He's championing development of his area, Galosota. So we were there this Sunday to cover the place. There's a huge ecotourism park. You will be amazed the kind of the species of plants there. And some intriguing stuff. We found a wild goat. I have never seen wild goat before.
Imagine.
Goat.
Thank you to the Volta region.
That's it. Goat that does not reside at home. They're not residents. They're in the wild.
Okay.
The black goats. I was so shocked by that. They have beautiful waterfront. They have this water that you can do, water sports. Okay. So we took a boat ride. They have crocodile pond. Yes, they have crocodile pond.
You don't have to go all the way to Paga?
No, there's crocodile pond in Galosota. I was amazed.
Anyway.
So many beautiful, and then there's this huge mangrove, area that can be used for carbon, offsetting, carbon offsetting schemes, So I think that we have so many amazing things. I've been to Keji, again, the Togbi took me around and then they showed us some places. And one thing that I want to do in Keji, the land reclamation that was done in PNDC, I think NDC era, so Rawlins's time, they reclaimed the land and then they built the settlement. Most of the Keta area is in the sea.
Okay.
We want to do a receptive, facility where we want to call all the photos of the old places that are now in the sea, blow them up, and then compare that with a new settlement. So you can imagine the engineering excellence that actually took place. That you'll be wowed by that. All right? And these are some of the things that we have to go into. So if somebody is telling me my house now is in the sea, you can see. Because you can see the old photos compared with the new photos. And you can imagine the entire road is in the sea. So if you have those old roads, people's schools, primary schools that they went to are in the sea now. All right? I mean, I saw a Kwashiga school that has now been taken over, in Keta.
Yeah.
I mean, in Keji, it's in Keji.
Close, yeah.
Close, exactly. Look, these are amazing places, all right, that we need to. We went to for President Stein, of course, you know. So we are really covering some amazing stuff that the country has, and hopefully we can showcase it to the world for them to come and invest in it. And of course, our own people, that if you have money and you're looking at where to invest, we say that what? Invest in tourism. You know, come in tourism, go to investintourism.org. Now it would be investintourism.gov.gh. And you will see some fascinating things that you can push your money in, you know. So I think that I'm thrilled by that. And for my team, we are going all out.
And I guess for those who are watching us and are thrilled by the things you've said so far and want to say, invest in the sector, there will be some support for them along the way, not in terms of probably say money, but guidance. Absolutely, and that's what we're doing. We want to help, you know, our what do you call, festivals, for example. Our traditional council had to make the festival sustainable. When I say sustainable, all fronts, economic, you know, social, cultural, etc. How do we ensure that a festival generates the needed money in order that you will be able to invest and then organize it year on year? These are the strategies that we want to bring forth, all right? For example, if it's Hube, we can mount Hube on the Ghana Tourism Marketplace. We can get payment systems. We already have payment systems, so we can put an account of the traditional council and market Hube big time so that people in Europe, in America, in the Ghanaian resident diaspora, you know, in all these countries, can come to Hube through Ghana Tourism Marketplace.
Are you having a challenge with indigents or maybe traditional leaders who hold dearly to their hearts festivals, and maybe you may have to tweak and turn a few things around so it looks more appealing or attractive for tourists? Are you having a challenge with that?
No. I think that these are our cultural assets. We have to protect them. We do not have to, you know, conventional, I mean, if I should put it, make it much more of a new, too much of a newness, if I should use that word instead. You know, so we have to preserve them. There are reasons for their existence. They hold true meaning to who we are. I think the support systems is what we need to revitalize. For example, all right, accommodation, for example. We are now thinking about tenting, you know, because the hotels are expensive for young people to participate. If you want to go to Uber for 1 week, and I can assure you, young people cannot be there for 1 week because of the hotel bills. How do we come out with much more of new ways of accommodation so that young people can participate and can actually grow that taste so that in future they can go to Uber? So we're thinking about tenting accommodation. You know, we have had quite a number of people who are approaching us and say, we can invest in that. We're in talks with them, right? Again, how do we ensure that, you know, people have, you know, let's say, transport, all right? And that's why we're putting up rentals on our system. So MFA can rent a bus and get all her girls onto, instead of everybody driving to the place, which would be expensive. And when you go there, you have a tent and accommodation where you can have, you know, what do you call, bath, etc. You know, so we're thinking about innovative ways to make these things possible, you know, and to make them very attractive for people to participate in.
After the big conversation, when can we check in to see the progress of these?
We're going live. In fact, immediately after the stakeholder engagement, when we get their feedback and we go back to the system and then iron out, we're going live. I'm hoping that by September first week, the program is on the 3rd. By second week of September, when we had embedded all the corrections and etc. that stakeholders had, we'll be going live. So by mid-September. But for the Invest in Tourism is already live.
Okay.
We are updating as and when we cover the places. You know.
Let's take a trip to the airport areas. Have you had any complaints from tourists or travelers coming in with an attitude of, say, drivers, Uber drivers, people trying to extort money, not making their stay here in Ghana very pleasant? Have you had complaints?
Most of these feedback will go to Ghana Tourism Authority. But as I mentioned, as part of our three-pronged approach, we're developing what we call the backbone. So very soon we're going to have a call center where people can have hotlines and call in and tell us about issues in tourism. You know, remember, we have December coming in, and we're going to have influx of the diaspora. There must be a hotline that people can say, oh, I left my something in Uber. you know, and then you give us details and we track Uber. These are plans that we want to, that's what we call it the backbone. So we have a infrastructure, strategy, and a backbone to make it sustainable. So very soon we're going to see all these things.
How are the other private sector players in the industry taking your innovations, for example?
I have a massive support from them. And that's why, in fact, this stakeholder is because we have had engagement and all of them are committed to this shared platform. So the event is the culmination of ongoing conversations that we've had. All right, Tuga, Gatov, Car Rental, Chef, Ghana Hotels Association. In fact, I've been with the president most of the time, and we've discussed how do we retool the tourism sector. So everybody is high-spirited to ensure this innovation happens.
Do they have a share in the revenues that you'll be raking in?
Yeah, that's what we call a share ownership framework.
Okay.
So based on the contribution of your sector, at the end of the year, we determine a percentage and pay it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not going to be grab all by GTDC, no.
How are you going to ensure that these platforms don't become very bureaucratic, another form of bureaucracy, instead of it facilitating investment?
So long as I lead this one, I'm from the business school, I know how to put systems that make it much more participatory. You know, I don't know whether you hear the word TAMS, you know, technology adoption, you know, kind of it's a theory. If you want people to participate in things, you remove bureaucracies. You make it as obviously attractive as possible, but of course you ensure securities, you ensure that, you know, people can have trust in it. But it's easy to use and they see relevance in the usage of it. So you can bet all my business school theories are going into, we're talking about AI. Look, it's a big thing. Once the data is there, AI is deployed. It's AI embedded. So, but you cannot work with AI until you have data. So once we have the platform set up, everything else, you can put in, I have 5,000, where do I go? And then the system will tell, hi, MFA, if you have 5,000, you can visit A, B, C, D, E.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you can imagine all my theories are into this. You know, yeah, that's how we do it. We have to apply what we teach, you know.
Okay. So we are all waiting for the outcome of this big conversation that will be coming up on the 3rd, and then we see where we'll take the Tourism Development Company to from where we are. You've discussed the platform and all, what have you, but when you sit and look into the future, where do you see the TDC?
Exciting. I see a very exciting future. I see a very revitalized GTDC. I see a GTDC that would lead the modernization of our tourism space. You know, we have to chart the course for the private sector to make money, for the private sector to be successful. So for me, I see our role as being innovators, you know, leading our private sector to be very successful.
Okay.
And I'm taking the fight to the big players. Okay. South Africa, Kenya, that's where I want to take the fight to.
Thank you very much.
Wish you all the best with it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, for hosting.
Professor Kokode-Nwamase, CEO of the Ghana Tourism Development Company. New Taekwondo for Silo with Shell.
On time.
We shall take you now live to the New Palms by Eagle Hotel, because Fidelity Bank has a live coverage on JoyNews and as well on Joy FM. And the theme is Sustainability Month Conference. We'll take you there now.